Hey fellow birdwatchers. Today we're exploring Lamington National Park in Queensland, Australia. This place is an ancient 300 million year old rainforest teeming with wildlife. Let's see what birds are around. Okay, we're starting our exploration deep inside the rainforest. I'll jump to different areas throughout the video. This way you don't have to watch me hiking for hours in between locations. Let's begin by checking out what's in the rainforest canopy. First up, we have the bright, colourful and one of Australia's smallest birds, the spotted pardalote. They measure less than 10 centimetres and love staying high up in the trees to catch insects. The males have a golden yellow throat, whereas in the females it's white. You'll find this species in forests and woodlands along Australia's east, southern and southwest coasts. True to its name, the green catbird's call sounds like a cat's meow. The green catbird can only be found in rainforest from southern eastern Queensland down to New South Wales. As you can see from what's in its beak, fruit is a major part of their diet. This next species loves the forest understory. It's the spectacled monarch. The black facial plumage gives it a look that resembles wearing wraparound sunglasses, hence the name spectacled. Today we're exploring the Green Mountains section of Lamington National Park. It's home to the famous O'Reilly's Rainforest Retreat, and it's just over 2 hours drive south from Brisbane. The park's other section, Binnaburra, has similar wildlife. However, it's a 1.5 hour drive between both sections, so it's not practical to visit both of them on the one day. If we keep hiking this track, I would reach Binnaburra in about 8 hours. Instead of that, we've got some birds on the ground. This species is adorable. Australian log runners forage the forest floor, flipping up and kicking aside leaf litter. You'll often hear their call, diddle, diddle, diddle. Unlike most birds, the female here is the most colourful. She has an orange throat, and the male has a white throat. It's the opposite to the pardalote we saw at the start. Who's hiding over here? It's a female satin bowerbird. Her plumage is a mix of green and brown, as she's got to stay camouflaged while nesting. The males, on the other hand, have intense glossy blue-purple plumage. They also have an obsession with collecting blue-coloured objects, such as berries, pen lids, straws, bottle caps, and clothes pegs. The males build a structure made of sticks known as a bower, and they decorate it with these blue collectibles. This is all in an attempt to impress the lady bowerbirds. Did you hear that drawn-out raspy call? That's the paradise riflebird. Similar to the bowerbirds, male riflebirds try to woo the ladies with their impressive dance moves. Up ahead, we have yet another Casanova. There are 2 species of lyrebird in the world. You might be familiar with the superb lyrebird. This one, however, is the Albert's lyrebird. Alberts are slightly smaller, have a less elaborate tail, but rather than being mostly grey, their plumage is a rich brown-orange. Like the superb lyrebird, Alberts have incredible vocal skills and are capable of mimicking many other bird species and non-bird sounds. This species has a limited range and can only be found within a small radius of this national park. A tricky one. The Australian thrushes are difficult to ID because the Bassian thrush and the russet-tailed thrush almost look identical. If you do see one, I recommend getting a photo, particularly around the tail. This will make ID much easier later. Up ahead, we have a huge strangler fig. Fig trees are rainforest keystones. This park contains many different species, which collectively provide fruit all year round. This makes them a lifeblood for birds, bats, and mammals during the lean seasons. Let's see what birds are feeding up there now. Whoa, this is an uncommon sight. I've been fortunate to see barred cuckoo shrikes a few times in my life. They're challenging to locate due to their weak call and tendency to stay up high in the tree canopy. Barred cuckoo shrikes usually inhabit rainforests, but they also venture out to nearby eucalypt forests. The immature birds can be easily confused with the closely related black-faced and white-bellied cuckoo shrikes. How fitting to find some Australian figbirds up here. Figbirds are social birds, often seen in noisy flocks of up to 40 birds. This one's the male. He has red around his eye. And here's the female. She has grey around the eye and a white stripy front. Next we've got the stunningly beautiful Wampu fruit dove. They're named after their call. Wampapoo. Wampus are large for a dove or pigeon. They're roughly 30% bigger than a feral pigeon. This species tends to inhabit the same area all year round. They're heavy fruit eaters and have been recorded eating up to 50 different types of fruit. Many rainforest birds are beautifully coloured. Why is this? One key factor is the dense foliage and low light conditions of the rainforest makes it difficult for the birds to see each other. So the colourful plumage makes them more visible to each other, which is advantageous for communication and mating. This species employs a more traditional camouflage approach. Look at those amazing eyes. Tawny frogmouths are impressively adapted for nighttime hunting. Despite their slightly menacing appearance, they're harmless to humans. However, if you are roaming around at night, they'll often keep an eye on you, sometimes flying right over your shoulder. Lamington National Park offers many hikes, waterfalls, and amazing scenic views to explore. Birdwatching in the rainforest can be more challenging than in other environments. Once you're under the canopy, you'll hear a lot, but the birds will be hard to find. If you're having one of those days where you can't find any birds, don't forget that there are plenty of other places, plants, and other animals to see along the way. I think we've had enough of the inner rainforest for now. There's more birds to see at the entrance and the day use area. Okay, we've arrived at O'Reilly's reception area. The rainforest fringe and picnic areas are where you're going to be able to see many birds, usually more than actually inside the rainforest. They have a feeding area here, so you'll be able to see some beautiful birds without having to walk far from the car park. It's hard not to love a rosella. Crimson rosellas are found in forest, woodlands, and gardens from eastern and southern Australia. Immature crimson rosellas start out mostly green and develop their distinctive red and blue plumage over the course of a year. Next, we've got another member of the parrot family here. Unlike most parrots, the Australian king parrot males and females are easy to tell apart. The females are mostly green with red undersides and a blue rump, whereas the males have a green back and wings with a bright red head and chest. Where there's food, there will be birds to clean it up. Usually brush turkeys won't forage in groups, but here they're putting up with each other, though it does look like a fight might break out soon. Let's move on to the boardwalk and treetop walk. Be sure to keep an eye out around this entrance. It's home to a unique species that draws visitors from far and wide. It's the beautiful Regent bowerbird. You'll only be able to find them in southeast Queensland and north New South Wales. This is the male, characterised by its striking black and yellow plumage. The females and immature males are a mottled brown and look very different. Here's one now. Like the satin bowerbird, the regent males also construct a bower. However, the regent males aren't obsessed with blue objects. They'll instead use a mixture of pretty leaves, berries, and shells. They'll also mix up leaves and saliva to make paint and then use that to decorate the bower and its surroundings. This boardwalk is the perfect habitat for small birds. You're bound to come across many darting back and forth here. The pathway is flat and takes about 30 minutes return. Here's our first boardwalk bird, the white-browed scrub wren. You'll often hear them chatting amongst themselves inside the bushes. The ones here must be being hand-fed because they're usually seen perching on visitors' hands and flying at their faces to get attention. That doesn't happen anywhere else. Next, we've got the white-brow's more attractive and musical cousin, the yellow-throated scrub wren. This species has tricked me a few times with their excellent mimicking abilities. I'd be searching for a specific bird, and then one of these guys would be hiding behind a log, mimicking the call of that other bird. Someone has once observed a small group of yellow-throated scrub wrens mimicking almost 30 different species. Filming and photographing birds in low-light environments such as this is a real challenge. I had to up my game for some of the footage in this video, as my usual camera couldn't cut it. Can you identify which scenes were filmed using the different gear? Okay, here we go. This species prefers the dark areas of the rainforest. Green back, iridescent blue wing edges, and red underpants. This is the noisy pitter. They're typically searching the forest floor for insects and snails. During the colder months, they'll often venture outside the rainforest and end up in unexpected locations. You're going to encounter many mammals in this area, including the paddymmelon. These are closely related to the kangaroo. However, paddymmelons are 4 times shorter and 10 times lighter than our eastern grey kangaroo. Although they may appear slow, they can actually move quickly, and they can easily be spooked, so it's essential to be cautious when driving in this region. Let's keep moving. We have to rely heavily on hearing to locate birds in this environment. Did you hear that? It's the call of the eastern whipbird. Did you know that that whip call is often 2 birds? The male will start with that long descending whistle, followed by a sharp whip crack. However, when the female's present, she'll reply immediately with a choo-choo. This species likes to hide in dark environments, digging and ripping out bark to find insects. Up next, we have the pale yellow robin. This cute bird is only found in select rainforests near Cairns and parts of southeast Queensland and New South Wales. Here's the willy wagtail, one of the most adaptable birds in Australia. They're widespread and live in a wide variety of habitats. Did you hear that chuckle? It's an eastern shrike tit. They resemble a golden whistler, but they have a massive, oddly shaped head. I can see some movement up ahead in the leaf litter. Let's check it out. Unlike its close relatives, the grey fantail and willy wagtail, the Australian rufous fantail only shows up at certain times of the year. In autumn, they'll make their way up to North Queensland to skip the wintry cold down here. They'll return to their home location by the time spring comes around. Say hello to the white-throated tree creeper. They're usually seen spiralling or creeping up trees to find food. The females have an orange spot on the ear. On the right, we have the male with a glint in his eye. We've met the bar-shouldered dove many times before. This one is performing its courtship display. but she doesn't seem interested. We're now approaching the Treetop Walk suspension bridge. This bridge was designed to allow visitors to walk through the rainforest canopy. You'll see a variety of ferns, orchids, and of course birds. The highest section of this bridge is 15 metres off the ground. There's also a ladder in the corner up ahead. You can use this to climb up even higher if you like. That isn't a good idea for me though, because I've got heaps of gear on. Let's check out this cluster of birds down below. Australia has its fair share of LBBs, or little brown birds. This one here is the brown thornbill. The browns have a streaky front, a brown rump, and a dark red eye. Let's bring on the next thornbill. This time we've got the striated. They're mostly yellow with striations, or tiny stripes, on the face. Remember those white-browed and yellow-throated scrub wrens we saw on the boardwalk earlier? Here's their close cousin, the large-billed scrub wren. It has a slightly bigger bill than the brown thornbill and gerygony. I find the best way to distinguish them, though, is by the slightly orange-coloured head. Okay, that's enough LBBs for now. Let's continue on. There's fruit and leaf debris raining from above. This usually means that there's a bird feeding. Let's zoom into the canopy and see if we can find it. Yep, we've got some heavy fruit eaters. The top-knot pigeons. They're instantly recognisable by their cool, swept-backed crest. They're usually seen in large flocks of over 20 birds, flying high between forests in search of different fruits. Wait, I can hear a bird of prey. And it's rather close. It's the Pacific barzar. Or if you want to go full on Aussie accent, the Pacific bazzar. This bird of prey likes to eat large insects, frogs, and lizards. If the opportunity arises, it will take baby birds right from the nest. If you look closely, you can see it has a small pointed crest on the back of its head. It has another common name, the crested hawk, though it isn't technically a hawk. We've completed the circuit. Let's move on to a different area, some hiking tracks. We're on the track to Morans Falls. This is a 4-kilometre return walk, starting from O'Reilly's. It takes about 2 hours at a birdwatching pace. Be sure to bring water-resistant shoes. This place is much wetter than the other tracks. We've got some birds foraging around the sides of the creek. Aw, it's a baby red-browed finch. They'll stay in this plumage for about a year. And here's the adult. Red-browed finch, or firetail, are native to eastern Australia. However, they were introduced to French Polynesia decades ago and have established a solid population there. Close by, we've got the small and agile grey fantail. They're known for their acrobatic flight style. They'll chase flying insects using rapid twists and loops to catch them. This show-off here is the male variegated fairy wren. Very quick one. Lamington National Park is home to an astonishing number of fungi. There's been almost 500 species recorded, from puffballs, jellies, and parasol mushrooms. There's even a species here that glows in the dark. It won't be long until we reach the waterfall. Let's see what's around here. Up here we have the brown cuckoo dove, a slightly confusing name. Cuckoos are well known for laying their eggs in the nests of other birds, making the unsuspecting parent raise the cuckoo's offspring. However, cuckoo doves don't do this at all. The name cuckoo dove is believed to have originated from the repetitive calls that these birds make. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is supposed to be reminiscent of a cuckoo's calls. We met the pale yellow robin earlier. Meet the brighter eastern yellow robin. They're common and inquisitive birds often seen perching sideways on tree trunks. Once they spot an insect, they'll launch themselves onto the ground to catch it. Next, we've got the Lewin's honeyeater. They have a machine gun-like call. These calls can be heard in a variety of habitats along Australia's east coast. They prefer rainforests, dry woodlands, and even leafy backyards. This isn't the greatest view, but here we've got another beautiful fruit dove, the rose-crowned. And we only get a short view, unfortunately. We've reached the upper platform of Morans Falls. This waterfall supports a lush river ecosystem that's home to many rare ferns, frogs, and rainforest birds. The Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service have been busy cleaning up this area from the fallen trees after the recent storms. Let's have a look at the trees up here. I'm surprised we haven't seen this bird much earlier, especially since white-headed pigeons are rainforest specialists. They have a cool red eye ring, along with a red bill with a yellow tip, and if you catch them in the right light, the wings emit a green-violet sheen. Over here, we've got the rufous strike thrush. Notice how it's placing its head close to the trunk? It's listening for insects. If it hears them, it will tear at the bark to uncover them. This species was previously known as the little shrike thrush. We're approaching the end of our walk. Before we get to our final bird, thank you all for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments whether you have any questions or feedback. Also consider joining our Patreon community for early access to videos and exclusive perks. Your support really helps me creating these videos. Okay, here's our final bird for today. We were speaking about cuckoos earlier. This is the shining bronze cuckoo. This one does lay its eggs inside the nests of other birds. They're brilliant at this deception too. They only lay their eggs in nests of birds with similar colour and sized eggs, like thornbills, fairy wrens, and scrub wrens. The shining bronze primarily feeds on insects, especially hairy caterpillars like this one, which other birds tend to avoid. Okay, we've reached the clearing and the lookout. From here we can see an expansive view of the scenic rim region and Mount Barney off in the distance. And we're done. Thanks again, happy birdwatching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!